Welcome to the show, Level Up and Live. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm excited about this one because it's something everyone can work with here. And it's that we all know how to lose weight and we all know how to get rich. Very simple, very simple. You get rich by making lots of money and spending less than you make. And it's very simple. To lose weight, you just eat less calories than what you're expending, and you lose weight. Very simple.
Mm.
So we're all good, right? We're rich and we're ripped. Everybody's happy. End of episode. Not really at all. And today we're talking about, man, we have all the answers. We have all the information in our heads. So why? Where's the results?
Mm.
Why are we still overweight? Why are we not as fit as we'd like to be? Why is the business not 7 figures or 8 figures? Why is it not producing revenue? Why am I not happy? I know how to be happy. I know how to feel fulfilled. I could chat GPT it right now. I could Google it. There's a million videos. There's a million podcasts just like this one that's going to make you feel good. You're going to get more information, and yet you're going to turn around and then still not have what it is that you want. And you can ask yourself today, well, what are you struggling with today that you already know about? You know, you have answers. You could Google it. Why are you not able to follow through, pursue that, and achieve the outcome, the,
Mm.
the the vision in your mind of what it is that you want to have? And today we're talking about that. We got three. I'm telling you, these are not like just three things we pulled out of the bucket. This is these three steps we're going to be talking about today. These are hard thought, hard earned facts. These are the reasons, these are the cures, these are the solutions to getting the information out of your head so that you can then do something with it and actually change the results of your life. And this is not hype, this is fact. Got personal stories. This is driving me without discipline, without willpower. It's driving Sean, and we're gonna jump into it right now. Let's do it.
Let's go. This leads me back to 2015 when I first started in the business. And when you get into something, whatever that may be, it may be something new. Maybe it's a new gym, or it's a new house, or it's a new business. It's a new relationship. Things are shiny. Things are fresh. Things are exciting, right? And so typically when that happens is we just put our head down and we hit the ground running, and whatever that may be. And for me in the business in 2015, I was like, all right, well, there's X amount of things that I know I need to do. Need to bring in cash flow, need to bring in money for the business, need to do marketing, advertising, and even think about hiring employees and replacing myself. Well, if you're a business owner and entrepreneur, you do this year after year after year after year. And that was me for 5+ years. I never picked my head up long enough to take a deep breath. In my mind, I kept putting myself in this same routine because to a certain degree, success is boring. Success is put on routine, put on repeat. It's boring, right? Whether it's food, because that's yielding the results that you want to get. Well, here's the
Mm-hmm.
problem with that. If you don't get punched in the mouth, if you don't look at yourself in the mirror and you don't slow down to go fast, and you're not clear on where exactly who you're wanting to become and where you're wanting to go, you keep doing that over and over and over again.
Mm.
You're on the hamster wheel. You're literally going around and around. And that was me for 5 years. And then I picked my head up and I'm like, dude, everything is on a hamster wheel. I'm doing the same thing over and over. Why am I so comfortable? Why am I lacking fulfillment? Why am I not getting that feeling of sensation of
Mm.
that new shiny object, that new house feeling, that new shoes feeling, that new newbie fitness gains feeling when somebody first starts working out? Why am I not
Mm-hmm.
feeling that?
Mm.
AKA aliveness.
Yeah.
That's when I hired and I came to you and I said, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. You had thrown out. Why don't you hire or look into a coach? Immediately when you told me that, it was like a punch in the mouth. I'm like, a coach? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And for the last 5 years, I have done the same thing over and over and over to yield the results to where I was, but I was not getting to where I wanted to go and who I wanted to become. There was a unfulfillment. And so fast forward, you say, okay, I started getting curious. Well, what do you mean hire a coach? Didn't know what a mentor was. Didn't know what a coach was, business coach. Never really looked into it, typed it into Google. And sure enough, I got put one foot in front of the other, reached out, interviewed the coaches. And then I remember signing up with this one coach after asking him the questions. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Here's my card for $3,000. I was uncomfortable. I was discomfort. But I knew for things to change, I had to change. Jim Rohn, signed up for him, 4 weeks, fast forward. I was like, dude, where's this going? I'm not seeing the progress. I'm not seeing the results that I want to see.
What information did you have that you had the information? You knew it was in there, and maybe you didn't know that it was in there, but it was in there. What did you know that you weren't able to execute on? Like
Clarity.
you said, you had that the book. You had the book, but what was the moment? And we're going to get into the first step here of clarity, and we can jump into now that moment of clarity that was able to get all the information you already had in your head out. What was that moment? Do you remember?
When 4 weeks, I said, I'm not getting what I want to get. At that point, self-doubt starts creeping in. Frustration starts creeping in. Why am I not getting the results that I want to get? I'm not feeling any differently. 4 weeks. And I was an impatient guy. I wanted to create urgency. I wanted to get things done. I wanted to see the results, the snap of a finger. Because I was doing the same thing for the last 5 years over and over and over again. And this was out of my comfort zone. This was discomfort. So when we get discomfort, when we get uncomfortable, we want to get out of it as soon as possible, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was me for 4 weeks. I was uncomfortable. I was discomfort for 4 weeks. It's like staying in a plunge for 4 weeks. It's discomfort. It's uncomfortable. Doing multiple marathons back to back to back to back. It's uncomfortable. It's discomfort. But when I reflect back, it's the man, it's the version, it's who I became in that 4 weeks. See, as a coach, he had to learn, he had to dissect, he had to guide and shed the light on my ego, my pride. Basically punched me in the mouth. And the time was, I think it was 4 to 5 weeks in, is I said, hey man, I don't think I'm getting what I want out of this. And he said, you know what? Let me spend some time on that and I'll get back with you. I said, okay, that's interesting. Normally, I thought he was going to address my concern. I get an email 30 minutes later, basically breaking down, hey, this is the Sean that's showing up on these phone calls, the 60-minute phone calls. Are you showing up as Clark Kent or are you showing up as Superman? And I spent about 5 minutes reflecting on that. And I called him immediately. I said, I am Superman. I am the egotistical guy, business owner, entrepreneur that is driving my life uncontrollably.
That's exactly what we're talking about today, right there. That is exactly what we're talking about. When you read it and saw it, which was clarity, it was spelled out, it was written, and you could see, right? Seeing is having clarity. You already had that information in your head. You already knew it.
Yep.
But you weren't clear on it, and it took somebody else to get it out.
Yes.
So that's a perfect example of having answers, because you could even speak to it, but there was an emotional connection at that moment. That was when you had information. Information is useless only when the connections in the brain says, aha,
yes,
that's what it is. And without him, we could say there was a chance, I'm sure you would have found it at some point, but man, there's a severe chance you might not have. That's why we see 50, 60, 7-year-olds still spinning. They also have the information in their heads too, but they never did that work that you did. They never got that aha moment. They never had clarity, which is what the first step is. When you get clear, I'm so glad you said that. We could talk about clarity and like what that is. Everybody knows. We already have the information, exactly what we're talking about, but what your story right there is perfect, because it really shines the light on you can have information, but it doesn't mean you understand in your soul that's going to produce actions and different outcomes. You changed as a human being. You changed as a person once you had that clarity on the internal side of things, and that is where it has to resonate. Does that sound accurate? Like to what happened?
Yeah, I'm getting tingly feelings you sharing that, because it's taking me back and it's reminiscing on that moment, because that was a pivotal moment in my life. Oh, I'm the Superman here. I'm trying to show up for everybody, external forces, community, customers, team members, and do everything in my power to serve and impact them. Well, the last person I'm serving is myself. Well, I'm going through life basically aimlessly, right? And so I never slowed down enough to ask myself the questions and get super clear on what it is that I want my business to stand for, do for me, do for my customers, do for my community. Come up with a vision, come up with a mission, and actually
Mhm.
align our actions, my actions, with my beliefs and values. When you get clear on that, that's when you have those aha moments.
And do you
And
know why
then
we
what?
don't get clear on a lot of things? I think is because to get real clarity, not the fake clarity, the real clarity hurts because you're going to have to look at
Yes.
something that you don't want to look at in your brain, your body, your mind, your soul is protecting you at all costs to have to face that reality of I'm going to have to change, and change is painful. Change hurts. I'm going to have to look at some of my man. It's like when I became clear that I was not a good husband.
Mm,
I remember that moment. It was like a aha moment, and I probably had, if I had gotten marriage counseling like earlier, or a husband coach, I
mm,
probably would have seen it. They would have been able to have shone the light on it for me. But when I saw it, I was like, it's so clear. I've been selfish. I'm a
mm,
selfish person, and my wife is not my support mechanism. She is a human being. She's a main character in her life, and she's not a
mm,
supporting role. And it totally changed who I was. And I think having my daughter, I think really got me clear. I was like, man, this is not. And it was painful. It
mm,
was horrible to look at what you've been up to that moment, right?
mm.
Because you've been doing it this way, thinking we're crushing it, and
Exactly.
then you suddenly
Yes.
realize I've been an idiot this whole
Yep.
time. And no wonder I was getting all these miserable, unfulfilled results because
Mm,
I kept showing up like this. And then you get that moment of clarity and
yeah.
aha. And it's almost immediate peace and this immediate excitement of now I know the direction because that's what
Yeah.
clarity is. And the pain before you have that clarity, and when you think you know it all and have it all handled, that's why it feels so bad because you think you're clear, but you're not. That's
Mm,
hell on earth
yep.
because you don't know which direction to go, and you keep getting these awful results showing up from the response from people, or if it's like a physical thing that you're not getting the result because you're not truly clear on what it takes. You don't really know what it takes to be in the High Rocks World Championships until
Yep.
you're in it, and it sucked. It was a punch in the face. But now we
Yep.
know, and honestly, dude, I feel so clear and so
Yeah.
happy and so fulfilled, and I'm doing more. I'm really stepping everything up because I'm driven through clarity, and
Yep.
that's what has been given. And the coach in that scenario was getting into the fire of
Yes.
actually competing, and
Yes.
you can't get clear unless you compete, right? Get into the arena of suffering, and getting someone to help you is kind of like getting in the arena. Okay, now there's someone else on the other side of this thing, and I'm in the fire with them. There's no hiding, and
Yep.
I've got to face the suck, and I'm going to
Yes.
take it. I'm going to drink it, and I'm going to get clarity out of this. And when you do, heaven opens up, and
Yep.
that's what is available. Right? Life is beautiful, and that's what Level Up and Live is all about. So the first point is clarity.
Mm,
It doesn't end there though. What happens next? Step two, accountability.
mm,
If there's anyone that, and I've said it before, I'll say it till the day I die. Accountability is Sean has many superpowers. One of them is accountability. Like he for me personally, uh, I have lots and lots of ideas. I'm very sporadic. I'm all over the place. My brain doesn't hold on to things well. It generates ideas, doesn't want to hold on to them. It just gets them out, and I'll pluck the ones that win. And uh, being held accountable is not comfortable. It's not. It's not. It doesn't feel good to in the past. Uh, and you know what? Not having accountability to me for myself, it creates doubt about yourself, about me.
mm,
Not knowing that I can trust myself to follow through on something is awful. And you
mm.
have brought so much accountability to me to the point where I'm loving the results. I'm
Mm.
loving the outcomes. And so now I am holding myself more accountable. I don't
Yeah.
walk past things anymore and let them just be. I'm like, I literally, physically, and mentally, I'll back up and I'll take care of that thing right now. Accountability to myself because that's the values I've created. So step two, accountability. What would you throw into there? So we got the clarity next into accountability.
Yeah, so for me on accountability, man, it's if I'm listening to this in my 20s, that version of Sean, I'm like accountability. I don't struggle with that even up until about 3 years ago. You know this because
Yeah.
you said it in the mastermind group when we had initially started this 2 years ago. Was you're like, hey, we need to hold each other accountable. Let's come up with some goals and we'll hold each other accountable. Immediately, and I thought I was like, I don't need to be held accountable.
Mm,
And that was the prideful, egotistical, Sean speaking, that version of going, I
mm,
don't need to be held accountable. That's a failing recipe for disaster, right? That's the wrong mindset. It's a scarcity mindset. And it was a prideful, egotistical mindset. Reflecting back, I'm like, okay, what could I have done differently? Well, let's break that down. Accountability. There's 3 levels of accountability. There's accountability to yourself. There's accountability partner, which is coaching, which
yeah.
is group coaching, what we're doing here at Level Up and Live. You have that accountability. And then you have accountability to your community, which
Yeah.
is putting something out on social media. I'm going to do a marathon, saying yes in a group text message to the Level Up and Live Run Club every Saturday at 5:30 a.m. at CHS Stadium. You're coming to that. That is accountability to a group, to a community that you're going to be doing something. Those are the 3 levels of accountability. When I learned accountability for my personality and for my temperament, when I told you that day, I was like, oh man, that is not the wrong, that's a failing, that is not somebody that wants to improve their leadership skills in their life in personal development that they're going to say. That's a closed off mind. That's
Mm,
the Superman egotistical guy that's going to say, I don't need help. We
yeah.
all need help in
Yes.
one area, shape, or form in area of life.
Yeah.
And I'll share a story. 2 weeks ago, Mastermind Group, you came up with a brilliant, absolutely brilliant topic in our mastermind group. And you have just, as far as accountability, you have leveled up in not only areas of life, just acknowledging you with Kel, because
Thanks for
I'll
saying that.
speak firstly with Kel when we went to Nice, France. I'm like, I told Kendra, and I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, they're holding hands. He's rubbing her shoulder. He's listening to what she's saying. He's active listening. And I'm like, and I've known the version 10, 15 years ago. I'm like, this version is the great dad, the great
Mm,
husband. Is he perfect?
mm.
No. Is he imperfect human action taker? Absolutely. But I see that version. I'm like, so everything that you're saying is, I attest to that you're doing that and you're leveling up in your life with your wife.
Man,
And
thanks for
it is,
saying that, dude. That was a beautiful moment right there for me to even take me back to think about those things. It was beautiful. Thank
it
you.
makes me proud, and it's an inspiration to me, because I'm like, oh man, there's hope and there's belief. This is how it's done. This is how it should be done, because I've never had that role model.
Mm,
So it's held to a certain degree. You've been my accountability partner in my
mm.
own marriage. It's like, oh, these are the kind of things that a great husband would do over and over and over again. So fast forward, mastermind group topic, you brought it up. I was like, man, it's a brilliant topic. And then one of the things that you said after we got done was the impossible. It was an impossible topic. Like, what do you think's impossible in your life? Well, I'm the type of guy. It's like, well, if it's external forces, whether it's a truck, house, whatever it may be, materialistic, I have ambitious goals. I'll
Yeah.
typically make it happen. But everybody in the mastermind group, like you said, myself included, it was all internal. It was
Mhm.
all something that we were struggling with internal. And for
An
me,
emotional impossibility.
yes. And for me, it was kids.
Mm,
I have a disconnect in the impossible of having kids. Not because we can't have kids, but because of where we are in life. We love what we do. We love the people we serve, and we just spend all 24/7 of our time thinking about that and not kids. Now, one of the things we left in the group that you brilliantly brought up is said, hey, by the way, you've brought this up. Next session, we're going to dive deeper and be more intentional about how we can connect the disconnect, the impossible. So one of the things, accountability, in my mind, the entire 6 days, I'm sitting there 6 days, Friday morning rolls up. I know at 8 a.m. Central Time, we have a mastermind group. It's 7:30, and I still haven't had the conversation with my wife.
I was so
Um,
curious, dude, if you what the result of the week was.
this is the power of accountability.
Yeah.
This is the power of what we have going on in our group
Yeah.
at Level Up and Live. This is the power. I knew that I did not want to let my mastermind group down. I knew that I did not want to let Ewan down.
Mm,
That accountability held me accountable. I dropped the ego. I dropped the pride. My heart started pumping. I started getting uncomfortable, being discomfort. I sat down, went in my master bedroom. My wife was doing her hair. I said, babe, can I block off about 15 to 30 minutes and talk to you about something that's weighing on my heart that I need to hold myself accountable because my group is a mastermind group? And she goes, yeah, babe, what's up? I said, well, and I shared the topic. I said, hey, we have a topic. It's about impossible. And the guy shared theirs. Here's mine, having kids. And we both had this like heartfelt conversation. It was great. It was beautiful. But I felt so good when I came to the mastermind group, because I was like, that held me accountable. I would have never have done that, Ewan. That version of Sean that wouldn't have been accountable would have been able to have that conversation because I was too
Wow.
scared.
Wow. And and just the level up, the version of you that didn't or wouldn't versus I don't know the outcome because we hadn't talked about it yet. It's the first time you told me that I already know. God, dude, I can't wait to hear the how this goes, how it went. But you're not the same person anymore after that conversation, and it was the accountability that drove
Yes.
that. And Dave, thank you for sharing that, man. It's so vulnerable, dude. Like that is in the middle of that. Like, I can't believe we're talking about this, and it's going to be out for people to hear. I really, I'm going to blow this one up because I want people to hear what you did, because that's a real man
Yeah.
that does what you just did. A real man, because that's very man. It doesn't get any harder than that.
Yeah.
Like,
Appreciate that, man.
dude, triathlon, high rocks, that's just kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
We know it's going to hurt, know it's going to suffer. It's going to hurt. It's going to, but it's a sport. We love sports, you know,
Yeah.
having a conversation, a heart to heart, man, that takes real courage, like real strength, and that accountability that pushed you through, and vice versa for me, man, as well. From what's funny about this is we got so deep into mine that Friday that we didn't actually get to discuss it.
Yeah, I know.
But
I was kind
we
of
will.
glad though. So yeah, maybe we use
Yeah.
this as a kind
We
of.
will this week. So I cannot wait to hear the outcomes of that and where it's going to take you and us, because you telling that story to us and the guys, we are going to, it's going to change us too. P.S. And thank you, for doing that. So yeah, accountability, that is so powerful, dude. And just before we go into the third point, it is, you like you said, your heart rate was up. You're sweating bullets. You're pumping. Listen, if you're listening to this, that's what it feels like.
Yep.
We don't want that. We don't want it because it's super uncomfortable. But on the
Yes.
other side of that is everything.
Yep.
Or you could just stay in your nice little life where you were before. And I don't say that in like in a mean way. That's how I talk to myself. Like you, and you could just be comfortable, pull the blankets over, stay warm and snug.
Yep.
Or you could rip them off, get cold, get out there, and have the life that you want from the results the effort you're about to put in. The two versions, so accountability is so powerful. Everybody needs it. I love that you said that, man. You don't need it. You don't. Yes, you're right. You don't need it in those areas that we typically think about. But most people actually need it in the version you don't need it in. They want the car, the house, the money, and they can't do it. But yes, everybody needs it somewhere emotionally, and that's what we teach, the coaching. I mean,
Yep.
they get the whole package, and the last part is support, right?
Yes.
And what just happened right now? I mean, this
Yeah.
wasn't accountability you just give me there, but that was a form we share this, and that was support, right? Like, and you
Yes.
support me in the same way when you're doing these things. Okay, we have the information. Yes, I know how to have a conversation with my wife. You open your mouth and you say the words. Am I going to do it? Well, you're clear on it, but are you going to do it? Well, you need accountability for that.
Yep.
And you don't know the outcomes. It's very scary. It's uncertain. It might not actually go well either, right? So what do I do after that? That's what we're actually worried about. That's what we're most concerned. That's why we don't want the accountability, because we don't want the outcome of that scary thing. But when you have support, you're untouchable, because,
Yes.
okay, go fail, come back, we'll work it out, and then go take a bigger swing. And that's how you move the needle and level up in your life. So
Yep.
you get clarity, accountability, and the support is really where the magic, man, I want to say that's where the magic happens, but really happens with clarity. And you need it all. You need it all. It's a formula. And
Yes.
when you have that support, you cannot fail, because you got people having your back that will see you through the difficult times that you can't do on your own. You can, but we all know how that turns out. It doesn't last. You will burn out. Having support, you become an unstoppable force, and you level up as a person each time. And so, dude, yeah, I just think that what you did there, just like, I want to support too, in any way possible. I'll take my shirt off my back for that. And you want to have people like that in your life. Like, for you listening, you have all information in your head. You know what you need to do. You know what you want to have. And if you don't, once you get clear, you will need that accountability. But that support is so huge. What is support for you?
Supports everything, and to a certain degree, and depending on like what it is, like if I'm getting uncomfortable, if I'm getting comfortable getting uncomfortable, putting myself in discomfort positions, like with the triathlon, having these conversations with kids, because when I share that to somebody else listening to this, oh, I've got kids, or oh, that's not uncomfortable for me. That's super comfortable.
Yeah.
But okay, put yourself in my shoes and vice versa. I put myself in your shoes. So if that's uncomfortable to me, what's uncomfortable to you? Maybe it's doing a triathlon. Maybe it's doing a half marathon. Maybe
Yes.
it's doing exercising, fitness, starting a business, or maybe it's hiring or reaching out to us and saying, hey, I don't have all the answers figured out. I need help, Level Up and Live. I need help, Sean and Ewan.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whatever's uncomfortable, it's the same thing that what I experienced in having that conversation, because it's not one size fits all. And for me, if I put myself out there with the clarity, the accountability, and then having that support, for me, it's everything. Because if I come back to my mastermind group, if I come back to my accountability partner or my coach or whoever it may be, they're not going to sit here and just like laugh or judge, or they're going to sit here and go, great job, little Johnny. Great job, Sean.
Yeah.
You know, man, that took so much guts. That took so much courage to come out and say that. We don't even have to spend any time on talking about that. I just want to acknowledge you for coming and saying that. That to me is going to light me up.
Yeah.
And that to me is the support is all I need, because to me, it's like we're going, you know, we may not know the answers today, but having that support and knowing that somebody's got our back when the impossible feels like the impossible in that scenario, to me, that is in spirit, that is in frequency. That to me, that is a level up in living life, because like, oh, I don't have to figure this out on my own.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a journey. And with that support, they've got our back. They can give us some tools or resources or guidance, or maybe they have shed something that's going to help with the clarity and the accountability to get to where we want to go, which is in my case is having kids, right? And sharing different perspectives. And that's what support is. Because without the support, you know, to me is you're being comfortable. You're living the rat race. You're existing.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. I've lived both lives. I've went down both roads. Both are very hard. This one way, that is the road most traveled, which is the very hard way, which is living that comfortable life, not having clarity, not having accountability, and not having support. That's a mediocre life. And if you're listening to this, you're wanting to level up and you're wanting to live your best life and become the best version of yourself. You're looking for clarity. If you're struggling with clarity, if you're struggling with accountability, or if you're struggling with support, reach out to us at Level Up and Live. Text us 936-788-4295. You know, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And shoot us a DM. Let us know what you're going through. Because if you struggle like we did, with clarity, accountability, and support, man, watch your life level up and watch you get 1% every single day by applying these 3 steps.
I'm going to say it's a mic drop moment, and no more needs to be said.
Amen to that, brother. Level up and live.
Level up and live.